morning, everyone. Afolabi Yusuf, Ganiyat Kemi from Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, Summit University of all protocols duly observed. I would like to move straight to the order of the day. I would also like to thank Professor Abaoba. He has really eased my work, my task here today. So I'll not be talking much. I will just be telling us more my experience and a little bit about academic paper writing and how to publish your work in curated journals. When we say academic paper writings, I have some outline here. My outlines are on overview of the academic culture, syndrome of either you publish or you perish in academics. The basic concepts we are going to define research, though Professor Abuaba have done that, but I would still like to give some little insight on what research is, research methods, research process, some types of research, the levels of research, and the process that is being involved before you can conduct any research in academic. Also, how to report your research and various levels that are there in when you are reporting your research, and the preliminaries and main chapter structure of a research paper. Let's quickly go into it. Academic culture. In academic, it is believed that it's either you publish or you perish. So there is this craze to publish. Will I be promoted if I didn't publish or not? But the main thing is that whenever you are publishing, what is your impact? The impact of a paper into the world today. How is your paper adding knowledge value? How is it contributing to knowledge in the society? Whatever you are publishing or whatever you are writing, you should have it at the back of your mind that it must have impact, positive impact. That is, it must contribute positively to new knowledge. Otherwise, we are just there publishing something that is not even relevant or something that people have done before. Professor Abuaba was hammering on literature. You must review several people because there is really nothing you are doing that someone have not done before. Paper before you can publish your work. So the definition of research. Research, according to a Frenchman, refers to the word researcher, which means to look for again, that you are trying to look for something somebody has done before. Systematic quest for knowledge. That's how Bush-Arthur defined it. But the main definition is systematic and objective analysis and control of observation that may lead to development of generalization, principles, theory, which results in prediction and ultimate control of many events that may be consequences or cost of specific activities. Which means whatever you are doing, is it that you are trying to hit water in a dynamic way or in a different way that people have not been hitting water before? You must have done some observations. Those observations must have been taken care of before you can now come to you providing new methods to solve this problem, or providing new theories to this particular problem, or you providing predictions to a society, and whatever you are coming up at the end of the day must have followed this systematic analysis, which is known as research. So now, what are the characteristics of a good research? Before you can say that I want to conduct research, first you must have a problem at hand. Begins with on the basis of problem in mind, on which purpose the research says to resolve. You cannot just come here and say, I want to develop drone system, drone technology. Why do we need drone technology? What problem will you try to solve? So the basic thing is you must have a problem in mind that you want to solve. The second thing is you should help your research should help to develop generalization principles from its findings. Whatever your research is all about, you must be able to conclude that something that this is what I've derived from it. And experimental scientific research must come up with principle theories. In computer science, we like design a lot. We design, we implement. Most cases, when you are designing and implementing, are you really doing the scientific part of the research, or you are doing the information technology of the research? So your research must possess a thematic or empirical formula as possible. I should have carefully and appropriately selected research plan. And we are going to look at that when we get to research plan, which means there must be guidelines you wanted to follow to achieve at this procedure. in computer science, I'm talking about computer science a lot because I'm from the department of computer science. When we are computing, we have a systematic flow that we follow. You cannot just come here and tell us, I want to design this. You must follow a prototype. There will be a system prototype, there are any system analysis designs that you can follow to achieve as your goal. So if you are not using any of the prototypes, which means you are not doing scientific research on that's research, which is the main thing, must contribute new knowledge or expand the present frontiers. So if your research is not contributing knowledge, I'm very happy to tell you that you are not doing research, because research must contribute or must add value to what is in the system. We are all using television before, we all have computer before, but later on we moved from transistor television to IC television. We moved from the television that we just sit down in your living room to plasma that we can hang on our wall. It's not that we don't have computer before we move from the you are adding to the existing one. If you don't have any knowledge, that's not research. So what are the research processes? Professor Abuaba have said a lot on that, but we just have to itemize it here. One, identification of a researchable problem. You must have identified a research problem. First thing is, what is my area of specialization? As a researcher, you must have your area of specialization. The fact that I'm in the Department of Computer Science does not mean that I am related or relevant to every area of computer science. You must have an area. What do you want to be doing in this area? There are lots of areas in computing. You have information security, you have artificial intelligence. Now, let me buttress. Information security also have some particular field under it. What field of information security do you want to diverge in? Oh, now I want to be using bioinformatics or biometrics. What area of biometrics? Don't have just one biometric. So you must be able to discover yourself. This is the area of my interest. This is the field of interest I want to go into. This is my area of specialization. First, you get your area of specialization. Second, you have your area of interest. After getting these two, you now look for papers, relevant papers on your area of interest. I am doing biometrics. On my biometrics, I'm using iris recognitions. What have people done on iris recognition system? What are the works people have done and published in iris recognition system? Go review journal, conference papers, go to conferences, collaborate with people, meet people to know what they have done, on iris recognition system. After getting to know what people have done on iris recognition system, then you can now say, what are the gaps that I found in these people's work? Because a lot of people have done this. This is what these are done. He has applied iris recognition to this. He has tried to restructure the localization process for recognition. So what are the gaps they have provided me with? From there, you can then get your own problem. In research, we call that a research gap, which means you have found something that has not been solved beforehand. So that's the first thing you are going to do when you want to start your research. You identify your research problem, and you make sure that that problem is researchable. Which means you must be able to arrive at a particular after getting your research gap, you have to define a very clear and concise problem statement for your research gap. At the 2022, use dogma to go differential for iris recognition. So I'm talking on level of research reports. There are several ways whereby you can report your research. Is that we have the low level, which involves the undergraduate, both BSc and HND. We have the high level, master, MPhil, and the highest level PhD or postdoctoral level. We also have the journal paper writing. So we'll be talking about that later in this session. So why do you conduct research? We conduct research in order to advance the frontier of knowledge, promote progress in our society, enable man to relate more effectively with his environment, or assist man to accomplish his purpose, or help man to resolve conflicts. We all know that all our research has to provide problem and must contribute new knowledge. So there are several types of research which Professor Abuaba have highlighted or dwell more on, so I would like to skip that part. So research methods, there are several methods that can be used. We have social survey, historical, case studies, DEVI, bibliometric, citation analysis, and experimental research. I will be discussing on experimental research because in computer science, we make use of experimental research, and in life sciences too, I believe experimental research is being used. And for any research to be scientific, it has to be an experimental research. So now, research report. The first thing after you've identified your problem, you know how to analyze your problem, you already define your problem statement, is to write a proposal on your research. And the proposal research has its own structure. The first thing is the research title. Your research title must be coined from your aim. What's the aim of this research? The aim of this research is to have an algorithm to solve blind eye problem in sub-Saharan Africa. The aim of this research is to stop buying of election in Nigeria. That's your aim. So your research title must be coined from the aim, which is stopping a stoppage of election buying in Nigeria. Full stop. Your research title should not be something like solving problem in election by stopping buying of to your aim. Whatever aim of the study is must be directly be the title of the point from the aim. You understand what this problem is solving, what people have solved before, and why you are solving this problem. Like I said, some people have solved your problem. There is no new problem on it. So why are you solving this problem? You must tell us why you're solving the problem and the problem you are solving in the background to the study. Then we have the statement of the problem. For the statement of the problem, as Professor Abuhaba have said, he mentioned like 5 points that you must have in your statement of problem. But I'd like to group those 5 points into 3 paragraphs. Ensure that at least you're having at least 3 paragraphs in your statement of the problem. The first paragraph should be the cause of the problem. This is my problem. So providing new algorithm for the localization of virus. Tell us why you are doing that, your first paragraph. And when I'm saying first paragraph, no, you're going to say number 1, the reason why I'm doing this. No. Tell us where you find that problem in the research gap. Whose research do you find this kind of problem? That should be your first paragraph. Second paragraph should be effects of this problem. We said buying of election. What's the effects of buying of votes in Nigeria? What does it affect, or how does it affect our electoral system in Nigeria? So you're supposed to tell us the effects of the problem in the second paragraph. Why the third paragraph should be the solution to the problem. What solution are you providing? Since we are buying the election, how do you intend to provide solution to this problem that you have identified? So at least your statement of the problem should have 3 paragraphs, and not problems that have been itemized. Not saying number 1, number 2, number 3. I'm not saying the problem of these studies are not saying number 1, number 2, number 3, as been done in most low-level report writing. Also, we have the objectives of the study. The objectives of the studies are not the importance of the study, are not the roles of the study. The objectives of the studies are what you formulated from the aim, the methods you think you are going to use to accomplish the aim, the step-by-step activities that you are going to use in accomplishing the aim are the objectives of the study. And for low level, you should have at least 3 objectives, at least or at most 3 objectives. While for middle level and high level, you can have 4 to 5 objectives of the study. And the objectives of the study should be stepwise, or let me say sequential or consecutively or simultaneously. That is, after you finish one, you have to move to the second, third, the fourth. Not that the objectives will not be jam-packed. Let me give an example The student wants to design an e-voting system for Federal Polytechnic or FOFA. The first objective is we must design the life cycle of that system. While the second objective is implement the objective. The third one is conduct a comparative analysis of your system with the existing system. So that's 3 objectives, which has provided a brief method of what you are going to do and which one you have to finish one before you move to the next one. Why your significance of studies after you complete this study? What doors do you think it would? What contribution will it have done to knowledge? Will it have provided us new knowledge? Will it have come up with new algorithms, new theories, or what are the findings you think would have benefited us from your study? Then the 5th one is scope and delimitation of the study. When we say scope, it means area that your scope will cover, that your research will cover. Not you just coming up and saying, the scope of this study is, and you now start telling us about the problem again. No, the scope of this study, how will you solve this research? How will you use the methods that you have itemized in objective to solve this problem? Let me make example of the student that wants to do e-voting system. The scope is that he's going to use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP for his work, using so IDE or integrated development environment to conduct his work. So that's just the scope. That's just the area it's going to cover. And it does not necessarily have to come up and saying that the reason why I'm using HTML is this, the reason why I'm using, no. You just tell us what you are going to do, what your research can do. And the delimitation is, what is it that your research cannot do? Or what is it that your research will not do? Not you telling us that my research, because of the time frame, I was unable to complete it. That's not delimitation. That's not limitation of study. And because the cost of laptop limited my work, no, we are not concerned about that one. The delimitation of the study is, what do you think that is your research supposed to provide solution to, but it is not provide the solution to it. For example, the e-voting system that I'm designing will be able to function online alone. You cannot use it offline. This research, e-voting system is not standalone application. It can only be used on the website. She cannot, that's the delimitation of study. When you're saying delimitation of study, nothing like a time bound, the cost of the product, those are not delimitation. Those are not limitation to the study. Those are not even part of what you expected in your research proposal, because before you can say this, I've conducted the research, we believe that you have exhausted every time, every energy, everything that is at your devotion. So research design and methods can be provided to on the C scope. If you are using sampling or procedure or hypothesis method, then the 7th one is for you and the 8th point. So let's go on. Our next agenda is to talk on the research plan. There is this saying, whoever fails to plan, plans to fail. So in research, everything must have been high-marked. You must have stated that at this also particular time, I must have accomplished this. So you must learn how to create your Gantt chart for yourself or log frame of your activities, whereby this objective is to design the software development lifecycle. How long will it take me? Okay, period of 3 months. How do I want to accomplish it? You must have stated everything, even before you start conducting the research. Okay, I want to know the problem. I want to start reviewing literature. How long will this take me? So you must have stated it. So if it's taking longer, you know. If you are fast enough, you know. So whoever fails to plan, please let us know that for every research, there must be plan. So the structure of research reports. The research report has 3 main parts, or let's say 2 main parts, and one comes as an additional value. The 2 main parts are the preliminaries and the main chapters. And if you are in computer science department or any electrical engineering department, you might want to provide us your appendices. That is, maybe things that you think you should put in your research report, but will be conflicting your work. So you want to put it at the appendix for later review of your work. Let us start with the preliminaries. The preliminaries encompasses the back page, the title page, declaration page, certification, dedication, appointment, table of content. Back page, title page has the same thing, and it differs from institution to institution. So whatever your institution or your department is providing with is what we use for the title and the back page. So we also have the declaration page, which in most cases is not always applicable to some institution, and the declaration page and certification page. So I'm talking on the dedication, acknowledgement, and table of content. dedication page. When you are dedicating, please ensure that you are dedicating to, let's say, someone or a particular person. Not that I dedicate this work to my loving wife, my children, a baby, a baby. No, that's not how to dedicate. That's just like conflicting things for yourself. When you are dedicating, me, I will advise you dedicate to God. I dedicate this work to God Almighty. Full stop. Or I dedicate this to my wife. Full stop. Not that you start mentioning names in dedication. Leave that to acknowledgement. On acknowledgement page, you can now start listing the people. I recommend 4 paragraphs for acknowledgements. The first paragraph, you acknowledge God that has seen you through this work. The second one is your supervisor, your mentor, your lecturers in your department. Then those are people you are supposed to recommend in acknowledgement on the second paragraph. So people are asking, why are you saying supervisor? What about my parents? Can you go? Did your parents contribute to the success of this research? Because the people you are acknowledging are the people that contribute to your research. The people you are acknowledging are people that contribute to this research that you are doing, not the people that sponsored your school fees or anything. It's people that contributed to this research. So you must always acknowledge your supervisors, your lecturers, the staff management of the school first, and the second paragraph. Third paragraph can now come your parents, your siblings, and everyone. While in the first paragraph, your friends, your colleagues that helped you with the work. While your table of content now, the table of contents now is some people just come, jump the headings and put the page number at the side, the other side, but without any linkage. So when you are having a table of contents, Microsoft Word has provided us with way to insert table of contents. You just go to references, or you just write the page number that you are using, full stop. So we discussed abstract in the other parts of the paper. Let us look at the other components of research reports, which is the main chapters. We have 5 main chapters mostly. We have chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And please note the way I've written the chapter 1. I did not say chapter and write 1 as a symbol. I write ONE1, which means your chapter 1 is ONE1, not chapter and you write 1. 2, 3, 4 must be written in words, not numeral. And we have introduction. The introduction part has the background to the study, the problem, the aim, and the objectives. So I've talked about background to the study, I've talked about statement of problem. So please let me quickly talk about the aim of your study. The aim of your study is the goal of what this study is trying to solve. What this study is trying to solve. That's the aim of the study. So whenever you are coining your aim of the study, just be specific. The aim of this study is to design and implement e-voting system and conduct a comparative analysis of this system with existing system concept. That is too long. Just say the aim of this study is to design and implement the e-voting system. And this aim is accomplished using the following objective. Then you can now list all other objectives there as has been advised earlier on. So let us move to chapter 2. The chapter 2 will be a review of related literatures. It can also have theoretical background of your work if you are writing for a project report or your thesis report or dissertation. If you are writing for article, I will advise you only use review of related work, what people have done as a earlier on. And chapter 3 consists of the methodology. The methods that you are going to use in solving your problem can be stated here briefly or and likes. While chapter 4 will be data presentation, analysis, and discussion. And chapter 5 will have the summary of findings, conclusions, and recommendations. And you can have your references, bibliography, and the appendices might follow later after the chapter. So how do you format the final report? The structure, that is the chapterization, chapter 1. Chapter 1 can have 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Chapter 2 can also have the same thing. And when you're having your headings and subheadings, like we have chapter 1, under it you have 1.1. If you want to have anything under 1.1, which is going to be 1.1.1, 1.1, 1.2, 1. So the headings must be formatted in a serial order with their corresponding subheadings. And if you have chapter 2, same thing, 2.1.1, 2.2, things like that should be well formatted. And paragraphing too. If you are using block paragraph, ensure that block paragraph is used throughout. If you are using indentation, ensure that the indentation is used throughout. And different journals have different way of paragraphing, so you must follow the format of the journal you are publishing to. So the inter-citation too, please look out for our upper referencing styles that has been done in the last previous workshop for you to ensure that you're having proper inter-citation and reference listing. Also, I'd like to talk on the titling and numbering of tables and figures. When you are putting title for your table, ensure that the title of the table is at the top of the table. Whereas if you are using figure, make sure the title of the figure is at the end after the figure. Let me say that again. The title of the table should be at the top of the table, while the title of the figure should be below the figure. And if your table is in chapter 1, and it's the first table, make sure that it's 1.1, table 1.1, you say table 1. But if your table is the first table and it's in chapter 5, use table 5 point something because it is in chapter 5. Don't come and say table 1 when it is in chapter 5. So the numbering of table and figures must correspond to the chapter whereby you are using them, and ensure you are using proper grammar. So people will say, if I read your book, I already know your level of grammar. I already know the level you have in grammar. So make sure that your grammar is well structured. We in computing, we write technical reports, our grammar might not be that efficient. So go to people that they are core grammarian, like the English people in the English department or linguistic department. They will help you to restructure your work. And don't be shy to say, this one will not be correcting my English. No. Take it to people that that are very good in grammar. Make sure that you always reference. So writing for journal and conferences is more or less the same, and mostly they all come from your project work, dissertation, or thesis. So what are the guidelines for the journal article? What are the things you should do? You must always follow the format that is being provided with you with the type of journal outlets you are providing it with. All of them have the outline of their title page, how they want to write the title page, and you should separate the title page from the abstract page. And the numbering of the preliminary pages, you can use Roman figure for the preliminary pages, I mean the dedication pages and the rest. Use Roman figure, while for the main chapters, use the normal numbering of the paper, of the pages. And ensure that your number is at the left part of the paper, not center or the right part, where people can easily see that this is the page number. Also, I've talked about the table and figure formatting, and I've talked about the thorough editing of your work. Take it to people in linguistic department or English department for your work. Now, the abstracts that I said we'll be talking about later. Abstract is summary of your work. Everything you have done is the abstract. So the abstract should not be the first thing you'll be writing. It should be something you're going to write at the end of your work. The abstract of your work should contain your problem of statement, your introduction, the problem of statements, where you get your research gap, the methods you are using, and your conclusion. That is, your findings too should be present in your abstract. Again, I would like to do that again. A problem statement from the introduction, which contains your research gap, the methodology, that is the methods you are using, and the findings that your conclusions will have inference or derived. So that's the thing that must contain in your abstract. And abstract writing differs from projects to journal articles. So if you're having project, dissertations or thesis, your abstract should be paragraphs and have content in it. You can say, this is the method, this is the conclusion. And when you're having journal articles, different from journal to journal too, but make sure you're using block paragraphing for abstract. And your abstract also have keywords and word count. So the next slide is, you must always ensure when you are writing for academics that you avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism is copying other people's work